What's up, y'all? My name is Dontavious Hill, three-time Team USA high jumper, five-time NCAA All-American. And my high jump journey started a little bit like this. So as a freshman in high school at the age of 15 years old, my PR was 4 feet, 8 inches. And by my senior year, I had jumped 7 feet and earned a scholarship to Auburn University, went on to compete in the SEC. And today, my personal best is 7'5", coming off the Olympic year where I went to Olympic trials to compete as well, right? And over my time in college, over my past 4 or 5 years competing in the SEC, over my time in high school, I've been able to gain all of this knowledge in the sport and become a great high jumper. And I've been able to help hundreds of high school high jumpers be able to achieve PRs, qualify for state championships, actually win the state championship. And many of the high jumpers that I've coached in the past are currently in college competing right now, as well as the ones that I have on the way to college, right? And today, what we're going to be talking about is how to actually maintain in the curve and what the importance of maintaining your speed in the curve of the approach is. Okay, so first off, when we're thinking about the curve of the approach, one of the main issues that a lot of young athletes face is literally not being able to understand the difference between frequency and actual speed. So when it comes to actual speed or maintaining your velocity in the curve, what a lot of athletes tend to do, they tend to speed their feet up when they get into the curve. They just want to pop, 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 pat their feet like this instead of actually understanding what it means to maintain velocity, right? Really big issue in the high jump. High jump is an approach focused event, and the curve is pretty much your finale, what's going to launch you over the bar. The curve is what allows you and really throws you over the bar and puts you in position to actually be able to clear a bar, right? So really big misconception in the high jump. High jumpers think, oh, okay, the beginning of my approach is just the beginning, and this is just where I just try to run faster. With this kind of mindset, this is how you get high jumpers who come down right on top of the bar. This is how you get high jumpers who don't get past the bar. This is how you get high jumpers who say, oh, I get a lot of bounce over the top of the bar, but I come down on the bar. All of these different things happen just because of athletes not knowing how to maintain their momentum in the curve and not understanding the difference between frequency versus actually keeping the stride and maintaining velocity, right? So what I coach and what I teach is how to get our athletes to actually keep their stride through the curve, how to get our athletes to actually be able to maintain the velocity that they created in this part, right? And we do this through specific drills that help you learn what it feels like to continue here, pushing from the beginning to go all the way through the curve and maintain that momentum that's going to throw you past the bar into the pit, right? And not only throw you into the pit, it's going to throw your body into rotation, right? That's also a really big part of maintaining in the curve, right? So the drills that I'm describing are part of my system, the high jump blueprint. So with these drills, to give you the concept of what actually happens, and let's say drill number one, what we kind of do is we teach our athletes how to consistently maintain our momentum, right? So the specificity of the drill works like this. We have a drill to where when you do this for a long period of time, when you actually go into the drill and you do it, you're able to practice maintaining your momentum from anywhere between 15 to 20 seconds. So when we actually, the benefit of this is in the high jump, we understand when you're getting into the curve of your approach, this little point right here, this is potentially about 2 to 3 seconds. This point right here is about 2 to 3 seconds to get through this curve. So when we do a specific drill, we allow ourselves to be able to hold the momentum that we would have in the curve for about 15 to 20 seconds. And the reason this actually works is when we hold that positioning, when we hold that position for anywhere between 15 to 20 seconds, right? You get to practice the maintaining of your momentum for pretty much 5 times the amount of time you would hold it when you're actually coming through the approach. And what that does is when you actually go up and jump, when you actually are running an approach and you jump, it's much easier to really try and hold that position when you're coming through here, right? So just to go back a little bit to kind of recap some of what we talked about so far, one of the main issues we get with a lot of young high jumpers is the fact that they are literally just not understanding what it means to come through here properly. Maintain momentum, right? So really big takeaway, just here. We want to think momentum, not frequency. Right? It's a little slanted there, but we want to think momentum, not frequency, because frequency actually slows you down. Well, frequency has a better opportunity to slow you down than it does to speed you up. Momentum has a much better opportunity to keep you actually moving at a good pace through your approach than it does to slow you down. Because your mindset is different, your focus is different. High jump is such a mental event, so you have to capture the correct mental idea whenever you're approaching a bar. If you're only told, oh, just get faster in the curve, you're going to be thinking frequency, right? You're going to be thinking frequency. But if you're told, maintain the momentum that you have, you're not going to try and change much from what you're doing. Mentally, as a high jumper, if you just told to maintain, that's just saying, let's keep doing the same thing you're already doing, which is really what we're trying to do, all right? Even though we want to be quick in our last 2 to 3 steps, when we're thinking momentum, we still get to achieve that, but not at the cost of trying to do something like frequency, which will cost us the potential to actually rotate over the bar and get past the bar, right? So the way that we teach this, right, not only through a series of drills and things like that, but those drills, or the drill that I just specifically taught you guys about, is a part of my actual system called the High Jump Blueprint, right? So HJB. So inside of the High Jump Blueprint, what we do is, the first thing we do is tackle mindset. So many of our high jumpers, well, pretty much majority of high jumpers who are struggling at a specific height, majority of the time it is a mental thing. So the first thing we do inside of my program is actually tackle the mental side, actually get our athletes confident. We find what it is that's actually holding them back. We pin that thing down and we attack it head on, right? And we attack those things in practice, competition, and in our everyday life in order to overcome the mental blocks of specific heights and feeling like we can't do specific things, right? And from that point, so I'm going to say mindset. From that point, what we work on is high jump. So when it comes to high jump, after we've tackled mindset, we put our athletes in the mind frame of, okay, now it's time to actually get better technically. This is where you get access to not just, the one drill that I described that allows us to maintain in our curve. You get access to multiple drills that's going to help you with every aspect of the high jump, right? And on top of getting access to those drills, right, you also get access to film analysis from me on a consistent basis, whether it's your practice, whether it's you doing drills, whether it's that competition. You can get that film to me, and I'll be able to critique that high jump film and actually help you improve, right? And in the past, I've helped athletes go from jumping 6 feet to jumping 6'6". I've helped athletes go from 5'11" to 6'5", right? I've even helped athletes go from 6'7" to 6'10". And a lot of this credit to the mindset, but as well as high jump, when I get to look at the athlete's film and tell them exactly what they need to do to fix that, right? And from that point, when we go from high jump, we go into training. So I actually design training plans for all of my athletes who are actually a part of my program. So all of your weight training, all of your plyometrics, all of your sprinting, everything that you need to actually succeed in the high jump, right? So just to keep going, guys. So we started at mindset, then we go to high jump, then we go to actual training when I actually design a training plan for them, telling them exactly how much they should be jumping, what they should be doing at practice, the specific drills, also everything weight room, plyometrics, sprinting. I design all of this for my athletes to make sure they're in a position to actually achieve their goals, right? And from this point, where do we go from here, right? Recruitment. So when our athletes get to a point where we've pretty much went through this cycle and we've got them better mentally, we got them better technically in the high jump, we've got them stronger, more physically, more athletic, right? Then from that point, our athletes are usually in a position to where we can actually reach out to college coaches and actually get them opportunities, scholarship opportunities, official visits, and all of the above, right? I mean, one of my athletes who was jumping 6'5", 6 feet 5 inches, we got college interest for him, just reaching out to schools and seeing what we can get back. He ended up getting 5 responses back in the first week of colleges that were interested in having him on campus and potentially getting scholarship for him as well, right? So guys, this system actually works, right? And when we talk about actually wanting our athlete to succeed, actually wanting to jump personal best, go to state championships, actually get an opportunity to eventually compete in college, you need a system. And what most high school athletes are missing right now is the right guidance and the right personnel to actually get them there, right? Many of our high school athletes, they have a high school coach currently, but the truth of the matter is most times, although our high school coaches, they do their best, they just do not have some of that high jump knowledge that they actually need to get your athlete to the next level, right? And when I say to the next level, I'm not referring to just college. I'm referring to the mental side of sports. I'm referring to the technical side of high jump. I'm referring to the training side that allows them to get stronger, more physical, all of these different things. They just do not have this knowledge, and you just do not know what you do not know, right? And that's where I come in. Just using my 10 to 11 years of experience in the high jump, from high school going from 4'8" to 7 feet, or in college going from 7 feet to 7'4", or as a professional jumping 7'5" and going to Olympic trials. I've achieved, everything that your child may eventually want to achieve, whether it's state champion, state record, school record. I've done all of those things, and that is why I am the person who can actually guide them and teach them how they can actually achieve these goals, right? And eventually be in position to earn a scholarship to ease financial burden on the family. From my experience, I personally did want to earn a scholarship and go to school, just so my parents didn't have to pay for college. I was able to achieve that, and everything that I've done over this decade in sport, I've condensed into this system that actually generates results and has already generated hundreds of results for athletes just like your child. So if you're interested in learning more about my program and actually seeing how you can actually help your athlete achieve their goals, then book a call with me down below, and we're going to hop on a free high jump strategy call so we can see where your athlete is, see where they want to get to, and see how we can implement a plan to actually help them achieve their goals. So like I said, book a call with me down below and we can get you guys plugged in and get you all the information that you need.